Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane Spawn, Shadow of Spawn Black and White Accent Edition. Now I'm not sure if I'd consider this part of the Spawn line or part of the Mortal Kombat 11 line. Probably more so part of the Spawn line, even though it's a repaint of a Mortal Kombat 11 figure. This is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, limited to 3,000 pieces. So let's take a look at the package. As you can see at the front, Spawn, Shadow of Spawn, Black and White Accent Edition. This is a gold label figure. Gold label simply means an exclusive to somewhere. This one's exclusive to Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store, 2023 exclusive, limited to 3,000 pieces by McFarlane Toys. One side of the package, Shadow of Spawn. Other side, totally blank. On the back, here's Spawn posts up, sort of a teal color going on there. The bottom, got a bunch of credits. There's his barcode, if it happens to help anybody. Now this figure has sort of a covering around the package. Open it up, and here's the figure on the inside. Presentation is very nice. So no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with 2 spiked chains that will attach to his back, a collector's card, and a display stand. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, limited to 3,000, black and white with green accent version of the Shadow of Spawn. Shadow of Spawn is arguably the best Spawn figure McFarlane has made. It's from the Mortal Kombat 11 video game where you can play as Spawn. Now the Shadow of Spawn figure is actually part of the Mortal Kombat line, but is, like I said, the best Spawn they've made. And this figure here is the black and white accent version. It's part of their Spawn line. I noticed on packaging there is no mention of Mortal Kombat 11, which I find mildly interesting. But that's the end of that story. So let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. Looks pretty good. We have the signature sort of Spawn design, but instead of white, it's green. Eyes are also green, a little bit of a different shade. Big cape and big collar. They're a gray color. Sculpting is good. He's got spikes all over his right forearm armor, none on the left. Looks like double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Like Spawn often does, he has a big spiked thing on one of his shins, but not the other. He's got some pouches on his thighs. The Spawn sort of skull on his chain belt. As a whole, it's a pretty good looking figure. Don't think it's better than the original one, but it's a unique black and white accent design. Now I've had several people ask me, does he glow in the dark? Does he react to black light? Well, he does not glow in the dark. He doesn't really react to black light. I'll show you what happened. So I turned all the lights off in the room, and here's how he looks under black light. Yes, the green does sort of glow when the black light's on it, but it doesn't charge up or anything. So I mean, it sort of reacts to black light, but not in the sense of that he's glow in the dark and he'll remain with that charge. Take it away, he immediately goes and fades away. And now for a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Looks pretty good, although I prefer the more traditional paint job. Still, he's visually pleasing. There have been a lot of different Spawn paint variants over the last couple years. Now let's check out his accessories. Let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. A little bit different than your typical Spawn or Mortal Kombat 11 display stands. This one is a large rectangle, has a Spawn logo in the middle, and of course it's in the same green as the figure. It's got one peg for the pickles on his feet. Kind of hollow. Still, pretty good stand if you like things like that. Now we have his collector's card, and it includes a display stand to hold the collector's card up. And I believe this is the first Spawn figure to have a collector's card. So you can see on the front, we have the black and white green accent Spawn. Shadow Spawn, Black and White Accent Edition. On the back side, Certificate of Authenticity. This is number 2273 of 3000. Pretty cool. When you put them together, they're going to look like this. Could be a nice little piece if you like to display your figure on the shelf with the display stand or a collector's card next to him. Me personally, I'll just put this into my big pile of collector's cards. Now for his chains. Spawn was always known for a giant massive cape and giant flowing chains coming out from all different directions. You got the chains here. They have spikes on either end. Detailing is pretty good all across the thing. Little peg for the back. They're both a little bit different sculpt, but the same thing. Here are these chains, next to the original version that came with the regular Shadow of Spawn. Now they are the same piece, but they're warped in different ways. Here's Shadow of Spawn with those chains attached. It would have been nice if they gave the chains a bendy wire. That way you could give them different poses. As it is, they're not really articulated, not really posable. You're just sort of stuck with the way they are. You can sort of move around with his back, attach them in slightly different poses. It's not looking any better though. Here's this black and white Shadow of Spawn next to the original version. I was curious if there were any differences besides the obvious paint differences, and there are not. Same sculpt, same figure. Here are the two heads. You can see they both have the signature sort of Spawn design, but this is in the normal colors. Everything else is the same sculpt. Cape's gray versus red. The black is pretty much the same, but green where the white is. Actually, the eyes appear to be the same shade of green. They both look really good. This is a much more traditional looking Spawn, and probably my favorite of McFarlane's current 7-inch Spawn line. Now that I've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.3 inches tall, which you can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now for its articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up quite a bit, down a good amount as well. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on the ball joint goes out about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, cover a large gap and increase the range of motion. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, a little bit obstructed by the armor there. His wrist, it can rotate and it's going to be hinged as well. Torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion, more from the torso than the waist. Legs, complete as it splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. They go forward, about that far, back, not much. He's got double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, to articulation. Here's Shadow of Spawn, standing in the middle of the streets, next to his collector's card. Here are both versions of the Shadow of Spawn, standing in the city streets. Here are all the new McFarlane 7-inch scale Spawn figures from both the Spawn line and the Mortal Kombat 11 line. I believe all of these are Al Simmons. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Spawn figures. Here's this black and white with green accent Shadow of Spawn, next to the original version of Shadow of Spawn. I would say that is McFarlane's best Spawn figure to date. And here he is, next to the first Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn. Also another fantastic Spawn figure. This is sort of how McFarlane got their Spawn line going. They snuck him into their Mortal Kombat 11 line, and it sold like crazy. Here he is, next to all the different Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn figures. And here he is, next to all three versions of the Mandarin Spawn. Then, next to McFarlane's Wave 1 of the Spawn line, we've got Violator, Redeemer, the Clown, then Raven Spawn, the Bloody Clown, Platinum Chase Redeemer, and the Bloody Violator. And now, with the second wave of Spawn figures, both versions of Gunslinger Spawn. There was a Target exclusive with a shotgun, and then a regular with a Gatling gun. Dark Redeemer, Cygor, Soul Crusher, and She-Spawn. Here he is, next to the third wave of Spawn figures. Haunt, Spawn with a Throne, Overt Kill, Ninja Spawn, and then a second release of Raven Spawn. Different accessories, but I think the figures are identical. Then, next to a couple of figures that are not part of the traditional waves, we have the Target exclusive Mega figure, Manga Spawn, and then the GameStop exclusive Gunslinger Spawn with Horse. Then, with the fourth wave of Spawn figures, we have King Spider, Plague, Nightmare Spawn, Omega Spawn, and Salmon Twitch. And here's the fifth wave of Spawn figures, Medieval Spawn, Monolith, and Sin. And here, next to some McFarlane's older 7-inch Spawn figures. Then, next to some older McFarlane, 5-inch Spawn figures. Here's Spawn, next to some McFarlane DC Multiverse, black and white accent figures. All three of these guys are Big Bad Toy Store exclusives, limited to 3,000 pieces. They all look pretty good. but I kind of hope this is not going to continue to be a thing. The figures look nice, but I'm not going to get much use out of them in the long run. But the truth is, all three of these guys sold out, so why would they not make more? Now let's check them out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix them with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work away smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys. These are from different various video game properties. Here he is, next to some McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures. Here he is, next to a roll of trash bags. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collected figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Makevex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares 4-net figures. So overall, this is a pretty cool Spawn figure. Happy to add him to my Spawn roster and keep my collection fully complete. I think he should be glow-in-the-dark. That neon green just screams glow-in-the-dark to me. Now this is the black and white accent version of Spawn, but honestly, you could kind of use this as like a stealth Spawn in a stealth suit. Either way, he's visually appealing, and they used the best version of Spawn to repaint and make this figure. His accessories, honestly I don't think the chains work very good. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I'm enjoying him more than I thought. He just looks really nice. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.